All right, and welcome to Module 5. Module 5, we're going to be talking about timeline jumping and quantum choice. So I spoke a little bit in the last module about choice and how timeline shifting or quantum jumping can be as simple as making a new choice. So now we're going to kind of dig in a little bit deeper to those layers of what does that mean exactly. And so quote of the day is collapse your timeline through conscious frequency shifts or new choices. So in this one, we're going to be talking a little bit about activating parallel identities. I'll get into that a little bit. But basically, parallel identities is the awareness that all potential realities exist simultaneously. So it's not about creating the version of yourself that you desire to be or that's most aligned with yourself, with your authentic self. It's actually about assuming that you are already on the timeline that that version of you exists in. And so go with the flow, the world will meet you halfway. So everything and every version of you already exists somewhere within the quantum field. And this is a mathematical probability. It is actually mathematically provable. So it seems a bit of a head scratch, but it must be, since mathematically infinity is provable. We can prove infinity through mathematics. And the truth is within this reality, everything is a mathematical matrix. And so this brings us to the next topic of the alternatives space, or the space of variations. And what this is an information field or a quantum energy matrix which contains infinite templates for what could be. And the way that you apply this to your life is this contains infinite templates or timelines or identities for what you could be. And so I love the quote, in order to have what you want, you must become who you were meant to be. And a lot of this is from a book called Reality Transurfing. A good analogy is the frozen pipe analogy. So you think of a frozen pipe. The pipe itself is frozen, but inside of that pipe, the water is still flowing. Whilst on the side, the water is freezing. So it is simultaneously frozen and flowing at the same time. The water flowing through the pipe is the alternative space, the quantum energy. So the water that is fluid is infinite templates or infinite potential. And the water that is frozen on the side of the pipe is physical reality. What is frozen is what is brought into observation. What is brought into observation then slows down to create physical matter. So if you think about it, even in the Bible itself, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And so, and from nothing came something. From darkness came light. And so this tells you a lot about the initial framework of our matrix, of our world. So from nothing came something. From darkness came light. And in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and the Word is God. And so words and light, sound and light, are all frequencies. They're all potential energy and information, energy into formation. And so this happens through observation. Observation is what solidifies the infinite potential of energy into space-time. And so I don't want to get too into the weeds over here, but essentially this ties into the observer effect in quantum physics. This has been studied many times, as well as within the dual slit experiment, where they did not observe it. They behaved like waves. And when it was observed, they behaved like particles. And so the reason that is because it needs the observation in order to bring it into formation or creation, into physical reality. And so this same concept, this quantum observer effect, applies to our life as well, and our individual fractal matrix to the universal matrix. And so that ties into what I call energetic jumping and identity coding. I will leave a link below to what's called the slides technique. It'll be a culmination of several different practices. And so all of the meditations and breath works that I'm sharing with you are going to build on each other. So we're going to continually be experiencing more and more and more layers of how we can energetically jump and identity code to our most authentic self. And put simply, it's joy. When you have joy in the things that you do, it makes it a lot easier to do them. And so the quantum collapses through the now. So quantum realities collapse through the eternal now and happen because of the decisions we make and the choices that we choose to either consciously or unconsciously agree upon. And so a deeper layer of this is using our expressions or the lack thereof, the things that we're not wanting to feel, and allow them to turn into transformation. For example, creating through grief. Grief's a big one. I personally do not believe grief is an emotion. I believe grief is actually a byproduct, an off-gassing of transformation. And so the more we can actually allow ourselves to feel the grief of what was, to feel the death of what is no longer, it actually allows us to transform that into joy, happiness. And in Qigong and Chinese energy medicine, they actually say that grief and sadness is held within the lungs, and it is transformed and liberated into joy through conscious breathing. So a lot of the breath work that we do, you might not notice it on a conscious level, or you might, but it is actually, we are going through an alchemical process. We are transforming these creative tools to allow us to experience more authenticity, more joy, more peace. And not even necessarily more, because it's always here. We always have the choice to experience these things because they're within us. But it's really removing the lenses from our eyes, removing the layers that don't allow us to see clearly that joy and peace and happiness is an inside job, and it's been here the whole time. So, theme of today is you already are. Now choose from that place. And this ties into what's called the law of assumption. So when we can assume ourselves to be already in the place where our heart desires and think, act, be, live, and move in integrity through this place, it allows it to amplify and magnify in our life quantumly. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to go back and watch it again if you want to peel back a couple more layers and, like I always say, get a better understanding. But if not, we'll move on to Module 6. All right, I'll see you there. Hey guys, David here. So thank you again for tuning into this video series. I really appreciate having you here today. If this information, this wisdom resonates with you, feel free to like, share, subscribe, pass this on to someone you feel like might resonate with this information. As well as I have a option for donations here in the description. And so if that's something you feel called to, the donations really just kind of help further my ability to share this online education and to increase the quality and capacity to continue to do this. So really grateful to have you here and look forward to continuing the journey together.